wembe lapiga, maraka zinachangamka, tunaimba kwa ujasiri bila woga hata kidogo. Mabalozi wa amani, tuko safarini, tunasimama pamoja bila kutetereka kamwe. Ngoma za Kiafrika zinatufanya twende mbele, huu ni wakati wetu, hakuna kurudi nyuma. Sauti kubwa, kila mmoja na nafasi, kila mmoja na furaha, mikono juu tukiimba kwa moyo safi. Vijana nguvu, tumejawa na matumaini, sauti zetu zinapanda juu kama upepo, tukiunganisha wote kwa wimbo wetu wa upendo. Mikono miwili juu, tunashukuru kwa maisha, ujasiri ni bendera yetu, tutaibeba daima. Mabalozi wa amani, tuko safarini, tunasimama pamoja bila kutetereka kamwe. Ngoma za Kiafrika zinatufanya twende mbele, huu ni wakati wetu, hakuna kurudi nyuma. Tunasimama wima, tukihimiza upendo mkuu, tunasema kwa nguvu, hakuna chuki tena. Vijana wa Yoni ni mashujaa wa kesho.
This is the unit. Thank you, God.
In the heart of Nairobi, where the dreams ignite, young voices rise and ready to take flight. With courage like fire, they stand strong and true, empowering each other, breaking through the blue. Oh, the world is watching and they see the light. The unit, youth shining, guiding through the night. Let them sing, let them shout, let their voices be heard. In a symphony of change, every action's a word. From the streets of Nairobi to the skies up above, these youths of the unit are spreading their love. With passion and purpose, they've taken the stage, turning the pages, they're writing a new age. From climate to justice, they're raising the bar. In the tapestry of hope, they're the brightest star. Oh, they move like the tide, shaping destinies, empowering each other, planting seeds like trees. Let them sing, let them shout, let their voices be heard. In a symphony of change, every action's a word. From the streets of Nairobi to the skies up above, these youths of the unit are spreading their love.
Oh God, thank you so much.
In the shadows of doubt, they find a way to believe.
To God to be the glory.
With every step forward, they weave, they achieve. Together they're stronger, united they stand. A force for tomorrow, hand in hand. Let them sing, let them shout, let their voices be heard. In a symphony of change, every action's a word. From the streets of Nairobi to the skies up above, these youths of the union, they're born out of love. So here's to the visionaries, the dreamers, the doers. With pride in our hearts, we're all believers. From Nairobi's heartbeat, we rise and we roll in the spirit of change.
Together, we will grow.
Together we'll grow.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Unib. Thank you for this fantastic artistic performance. It was very amazing. Fantastic.
Vraiment très, 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 très beau.
Yes, here we are. So, to start right now, my name is Ajid. I come from Rwanda.
Je m'appelle Priska, je viens de Madagascar.
We also greet those ones who are joining online with us. Please, let's try to wave them online. We are with you. We are connected more than before. So now it's the time. For those in the hall, please keep, and also on the Zoom, please keep your headset on to follow the translation. As our speakers will be using different languages. So now, to begin, we would like to invite our friends, promoters, partners to join us on the stage. So we call Sylvia Escondel et Ray Asprey,
Applaudissements pour eux, s'il vous plaît.
the representatives of the Center of the Focal Movement International level. And we welcome on the stage Regina Mwalichi and Elike Mwanji, who are the delegates of the Focal Movement in East Africa. A special warm welcome. Once again, we give a warm welcome to Sylvia Escondel, Ray Asprey, the representative of the Center of the Focal Movement on the international level. Please, let's give them a warm welcome. And we give a warm welcome to Eric Mwanji and Regina Mwanichi, who are the delegates of the Focal in East Africa. You're most welcome. So now, the mic is yours.
So good morning, good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to Nairobi, your hosts for this great event. We want to welcome all the people coming from different areas and different countries of the world. It's a great pleasure to have all of you here in celebration to the 80 years since the foundation of the UN. We are happy that also Nairobi happens to be part of the cities hosting the UN agencies in the globe, and on behalf of all the citizens of this country, we wish you a happy stay and a happy welcome here with us in Kenya. Karibuni sana.
A heartfelt karibu to all of you here in Kenya and to all the people that are connected online. We're very happy to host this very important event, the 80th anniversary of the UN, with the title Cities, Community, and Care. And we also want to welcome the members of Together for Together for a New Africa that have been here, and that we feel they are prepared these moments. It is really important to think of the community, of the cities, and I would say of the village here in Africa. We hope it will be a great moment of exchange, a great moment of also sharing our experiences so that we can build cities that are a true places where every woman and a man in this world can find their dignity. And we would also want to introduce a few people that are here with us today. The delegates of the Western and Central Africa Zone, Aurora and Raphael. Karibuni sana. Thank you for being with us. We also introduce Amata and Harry. They are the responsibles of the city, the community that is hosting us, and all the people that are here from the Citadel of Mariapolis Center.
Thank you. So one of the promoters and partners of this event is the Focolare movement, an international ecclesial movement that embraces peoples, cultures, religions, and all those who work for peace in the world. And together we want to make an impact in the societies, in the communities where we live. This afternoon here in Nairobi, we are joined by Sylvia Escandel and Ray Asper, who are the central delegates or the vices of the president and the co-president of the Focolare Movement International. They are here coming from Rome, Italy, and we wish to welcome them, and they will give us the greetings also from the Focolare Movement Global, and they will speak in Italian. So welcome, karibuni, benvenuti.
Allora, ecco, noi vi portiamo i saluti.
So we bring greetings from Margaret Caron, the president of the Focolare Movement, and Jesus Moran, the co-president, but also our entire General Council. Truly, we're happy to be here. Truly more than happy, we are honored to be part of this beautiful meeting that starts from the heart of Africa, but most likely will reach the entire world. So we are together to build this moment that will surely be very important. We arrived yesterday, and we are really happy to be here. Thank you for your welcome, very, very warm. Coming here this morning into this hall, I seen those two posters that say a little bit about our event here today. The social transformation speaks of peace, peace building, community in our groups, in our villages, in our cities. I thought about the place where we are now, this Mariapolis Piero. In this place, this event today, to celebrate the 80th anniversary of the United Nations, is important. If we are thinking about the world we face today, at the same moment, it's important, this place, but it's also small, maybe just a drop in the ocean. But I thought, like a poet used to say, in the drop, there is the entire ocean, right? And I felt that. Maybe we only do a drop here these days, but together in the ocean, with the experience that we do, there's the entire ocean is there in that drop. So all the best for all these days together. Thank you.
And together with Ray and Sylvia are also the coordinators of this initiative coming from different parts of the world. So we ask them to just kindly stand and wave, all our partners, all the people who have joined us and have been part of this event. I see them behind there. If they want to wave, thank you. Karibuni sana.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Sylvia, for being with us here in Nairobi. We feel united with the center of the folklore movement. At this juncture, allow me to welcome the mayor of Milimani, Madam Patricia. You're welcome. She is a great leader, a woman that is truly loved by her people, a woman, a leader that has worked a lot on urban development and reduction of crime in this locality. So welcome. We would like to hear a word from you.
Good morning, everyone. The mission.
Patricia, sorry.
Yes.
Can you? Thank you.
Like that. Okay. All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay. All the missions of the United Nations, the Mariapolis, Fokorare, in Africa and the whole world, and all protocols observed. Good morning. I'm Patricia Wandia. I am Chief Mirimani location, where Mariapolis Piero is situated here in Kenya. Mirimani is in Juja sub-county, Kiambu County, and in the larger Kenya country in Africa. I feel excited today to be part of this wonderful 80th anniversary of the UN with the theme of the youth being the partners in making our cities and our villages better. I feel privileged because I work with the youth, and we know that working with the youth, we can make our world better. Because with the youth, they are our tomorrow and they are our today. If we encourage the youth who are the majority in our society, and who right now we have the artificial intelligence, who they can use very well, making the world a global village. So we can make our world one unit with very peaceful cohesion, making the youth be part of us, and making the youth preaching that peace, the gospel of peace that can change the whole world for man to live better and for man to coexist with each other. No racial discrimination, no religious discrimination, and we can make the world better. Visually impaired, and I work very well. And I tell the people that being visually impaired does not make us lesser people. It's just a challenge like any other. And so we can make our world better even with other different challenges of life. And so if, as the youth, we make a point even of incorporating the other people who feel challenged in our society, we can make the world better. I welcome you all in Maria Poris Piero. We are a very happy people. We welcome visitors from all over, and we are grateful. Thank you and feel welcome. Karibuni sana. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for this wonderful speech. And
Merci.
thank you very much for our special guests.
On peut répéter nos applaudissements pour eux, s'il vous plaît.
Okay, so now we are going to invite other special guests who are here, but now we are feeling at home. We are together with Emmanuel Njoka, the delegate of the Fokora in the West Africa, and Melchior Savimana, the coordinator of Together for New Africa initiatives. You are most welcome.
Encourageons-les avec nos applaudissements, mesdames
A
et
round
messieurs.
of applause, please. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Emmanuel Njoka from Nigeria. I will be speaking in English language. It's nice to meet all of you.
My name is Melchior. I'll be speaking in French.
All right. I want to take this opportunity to thank the folklore movement and the New Humanity for having this privilege to speak on the United Nations 80th anniversary, also to participate in this great event. It is my pleasure to be here, and I thank everyone for the opportunity to come here and talk on behalf of West Africa, the African country which is fast growing.
Moi, c'est Melchior, comme je l'ai dit. Je représente l'initiative Together for New Africa, qui est une initiative qui est des jeunes.
I'm the representative for the Together for a New Africa. A youth that want to change the continent and want to be a model for the entire world. We have a delegation here from about 14 countries. Some of them are also connected here from about another 14 countries. We understood that the problems of the African continent can be solved, can be faced, if youth. So this youth have worked for 3 years. For 3 years, we are at the conclusion. We are now ready to start a new period. We are happy to be here. We are active. We want to connect also with the other activities in order to find, also with other people, in order to build peace. In order to do that, we need to actively participate. We want to follow all the idea of the United Nations with all the generations that will come.
Thank you very much.
Est-ce qu'on peut vous demander de les applaudir encore un peu plus fort pour les remercier, mesdames et messieurs?
Please.
So an applause a little stronger now.
Merci beaucoup à tous
Thank
de nous avoir
you.
souhaité la bienvenue. Maintenant, nous nous sentons encore plus prêts et légitimes pour commencer ces trois jours de réunion. Alors, la première activité que nous allons faire, c'est de
Now we're ready to start these 3 days. We take a moment to reflect and to pray for peace. So we stand.
Face aux guerres, aux conflits sans fin, à la violence et à l'injustice généralisée, le time out
Created in response to endless wars and conflicts, as well as widespread violence and injustice, the Time Out for Peace aims to weave a vast network of peace across the world. A network made of thousands of knots formed by people who every day at 12 noon in each time zone stop for 1 minute of silence, prayer, or meditation for peace.
Unis à des milliers d'enfants, de jeunes et d'adultes dans tous les pays du monde, nous demandons la paix dans toutes les nations de la Terre.
United with thousands of children, young people, and adults in every country of the world, we ask for peace in all nations affected by war, armed uprisings, or violence, especially in African countries such as the Democratic Republic of Congo, Ethiopia, South Sudan, the Sahel countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, Chad, Niger, Nigeria, Cameroon, Libya, Mozambique, Somalia, certain regions of Kenya and Egypt, as well as in the Middle East, Ukraine and Russia, Myanmar, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, the Philippines, Mexico, Guatemala, Colombia, Venezuela, Brazil, Haiti, and everywhere violence and injustice persist.
Le Mexique, le Guatemala, la Colombie, le Venezuela, Haïti, et partout où la violence et l'injustice persistent. Merci beaucoup. Vous pouvez vous asseoir. Donc, nous allons poursuivre notre programme.
Now, let us continue with the program.
Nous allons
Catalina and
voir
Rainer,
ensemble les objectifs
who will
et la
help us
méthodologie de notre
look
rencontre.
together at the objectives and the methodology of our gathering.
Applaudissons-les s'il vous plaît pour les encourager toujours.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening in any place that you are joining us today. My name is Catalina Hinojosa. I'm from Ecuador, and I have the honor of representing New Humanity NGO from the Focolare movement, where I serve as vice president. It's a great welcome to gather here in Nairobi, and all of you connected online from different parts of the world. In this international conference, Cities, Communities, Care, Youth in Action for Sustaining Peace. We are especially grateful to hold this event in Africa, a continent full of life, culture, and wisdom, where the richness of its people and communities inspire us to work together with renewal and determination. New Humanity NGO, probably some of you know, but others not, was founded in 1986 and since 2005 holds general consultative status within the United Nations and Economic and Social Council. This means that we are recognized as an NGO partner of UNESCO, the Food and Agriculture Organization, and the United Nations Environmental Programme. This offers us the opportunity to actively engage with the UN, a social civil society actor, to contribute to the life of the community of nations. Our mission is to promote universal fraternity, peace, and human dignity by fostering dialogue and cooperation among cultures, generations, and institutions, and by supporting the integral development of people, communities, and our common home. We have offices and representatives in some countries as New York, Geneva, Paris, Brussels, Vienna, and here also in Nairobi. And we are working on topics related to human rights, respect for and safeguarding of the environment, global citizenship, peace, education, and co-responsibility in local and international governance. In every place where we are present, we ensure also our collaboration with the Holy See mission to advance the dignity of human life. We do this by presenting oral statements, engaging in dialogue among NGOs and networks, and building relationships and representatives of many countries, with representatives of many countries. In doing so, our aim is to be the expression of the Focolare movement, bringing its voices, good practices, and life experiences to the international arena, where we seek to contribute to the policies and the processes that place human relationships, care, and fraternity at the center. Among the programs we support is Together for a New Africa, a beautiful example of what it means to act for transformation. We want to express our deep gratitude to the young leaders of this program, who over the past 3 days, they have worked and engaged in a profound process of listening, reflection, and building concrete actions to respond to the challenges of their societies. So many of these leaders probably are here with us today. So let's give them a big round of applause and celebrate together. And let's celebrate together this amazing work that you are carrying forward. Your journey really is a living sign that change begins when we dare to look at the reality with hope and act together for the common goal. This conference holds as part of the 80th anniversary of the United Nations. And this invites us to imagine cities, communities, villages as spaces of care, inclusion, and peace. Over the next days, we will share ideas and experiences through dialogue and participation workshops. And let me finish, I'm almost in the last part. And I want to invite everyone, both here and online, to take an active part. Rainer will explain later on, but your insights, your reflections, and also your questions are really precious for us. Even from afar, you can write to us, and you can contribute with your collective also journey that you are doing in your places. We live in a time of many crises, but also of great opportunities. When we connect, when we share responsibility, and when we care for one another, we are already building a new humanity, a new Africa. As an African proverb says, when spider webs unite, they can tie up a lion. So let us weave our webs of care, unity, and hope, and make these days become a true space of encounter, reflection, and shared actions for peace. So thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Catalina. My name is Rainer. I will speak in German. Just kidding. I wanted to make sure you were awake and paying attention. I didn't want to scare the interpreters. I've had to interpret myself. I know what it's like. Someone asked me this morning, are we authorized to celebrate the UN birthday? Did we ask to the UN? Did they say we could? I know some people here are here from the UN or have worked with the UN, but maybe not what everyone would know is that the first words of the UN Charter are "we the peoples." So yes, there are people that work and, and have UN badges, but the UN pertains to all of us, and it is trying to work for all the goals that Catalina just mentioned and all the goals that we all strive for in our everyday lives. So I think, yes, we do have the right to celebrate, and we do have the right to ask, how can we contribute to its noble mission, whether or not we work directly with the UN or even just work locally in the different activities that we have. So I think these days, as she said, we've been invited to pause. It's so urgent, it's so difficult. The questions of facing humanity are so complex, we have to work on them and fix them yesterday, that we start to take a moment of pause. And we take a moment of reflection. And we take a moment to learn from one another. We will not all agree, thank God. We have different perspectives. That's part of the beauty and part of the challenge, but part of where we will find the solutions. There's a beautiful phrase that I heard recently. It says, truth, while it may not be relative, it is relational. I can see this whole room from my perspective, but I cannot see it from your perspective. I cannot see it from that perspective. Only collectively can we have a more fuller vision of reality. And of course, there will be differences, but the more we have stronger relations, the more I really see the other as another me, someone who also has difficulties and challenges and insights that I can learn from, the more we will collectively find a way forward. If we're going to speak of African wisdom and African sayings, you have heard perhaps the one that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So here together these days, together with those online, we would like to continue this pausing, reflecting, sharing of experiences, and perhaps coming up with new ideas. We have tried to make this program as participative as possible. Every afternoon after lunch, which we know is a difficult moment when people are a little tired, we have made it interactive workshops where we'll be asking you to share what you learned, your perspectives, and then at a certain point also to feed back into what your proposals are. Now, what do I mean by that? We've created a platform that has been used in different countries. It's called Decidim, and I would ask my colleagues to put up the website as I explain a little bit further. This program was developed in Barcelona, was used in Sardinia, even by those who've seen Mario here. You can ask how he used it. And it was used even in Taiwan with youth who wanted to come up with new proposals for the government. It is a platform that allows people to make proposals, comment on them, and then vote whether they agree or disagree. So it is a way that we've tried to create some common space between those online and those here in this room. And it will be a way where we can come up with what we're aiming for, this common document, this charter of commitments. What do we believe? What do we think would be useful going forward? How do we want to engage in these issues of youth, cities, communities, most notably, of course, peace? How do we deal with the environment? And perhaps what kind of suggestions or vision do we also have for the UN and how we can interact with it? Sound like an easy enough task? No big deal? To those listening from the UN, we'll have your problems fixed by Wednesday, no problem. No, I've learned in Africa we also need to go slowly and fast at the same time. So we will be patient, but we will be asking you to come up with real solutions and real ideas forward. So, to explain the decision, my colleague Albert up there, once you've gone to our website, which when you go into the participative workshops, we will show you how to get to the website. But if you first go a step back, Albert, and you show that the website is on the New Humanity website, and there you will find the click to go to the Decidim, coming from Spanish and Catalonian, we decide. And you go to click to participate. We'll go over this again, but now I have the chance to show you all online. You will get the chance to make your own email and profile. So you put in an email, you put in a password. Please remember your password. And then you will get an email allowing you to click further on. And then you can go back to, it will allow you to refresh and go back to the main website. From there, you go back to the website. And from there, you can start making proposals. We know that many of you are tech savvy and maybe many of you are not. We invite you to do this also together. But if you want, you can do this also individually. And then once you are in on the page of making proposals, you will also have the possibility to translate the whole website. If you didn't know this yet, I learned this recently. If you get to a website that is not translated in a language that you speak, there is the functionality on top for clicking, have the whole thing translated into, my case, English, or another case, French. And then you can make your proposals in French, in Portuguese, in any of the languages spoken by those listening. And we will then be collecting them over the next 2 days. We have a very courageous, ambitious team who will be putting them all together on Tuesday, and so that Wednesday we can feed back. We know it's not a perfect process, but we want it to be fed in by your ideas for a final document that may not have the exact wording that you put in, but will be fed and nourished by your own reflections, whatever the language they may be. Thanking again also to some artificial intelligence translation and so on. Okay? If you didn't get all that in that rapid fire training, don't worry. Once you go to your participative workshop, there'll be a chance to redo it. But a final invitation to you is, this meeting is an enriching encounter. It's a conversation. In another sense, it's a conversation starter. We know the conversations you start here will not be complete. We will not find all the solutions. But we invite you to continue those conversations. You have met people from other countries. You are now connected with them. There will be other platforms like this to continue these conversations. And the conversations need time. I like this phrase from the poet Rainer Maria Rilke, not just because he has a very nice name, because my name is the same for those who haven't memorized my name. And he says, with certain questions in life, you're not ready for the answer yet. You have to live the question, love the question, as if they were books in a language that you don't yet speak. And little by little, you might live your way into the answer. And there comes back this relational truth. Most importantly are the relationships that we can build, and that I can see that even though you come from another country and another context, and we might totally disagree on certain aspects, that I need you to fully understand how we as a humanity can move forward. And I cannot see you just as an obstacle or an enemy or an opponent. And if we can keep up building relationships like that, and keep on listening and becoming more flexible in how we understand and see things, and realizing that my perspective might not have the whole truth, then that way we can certainly find more wisdom-inspired answers and better answers for the complex questions we're all facing, the UN included. So continue the conversation these days. Meet people that you haven't met yet. Continue the conversation online, and let's keep talking, keep walking together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rainer.
Merci beaucoup, Rainer et Catalina.
So now we are going to welcome our special guest. Our special guest, Christelle Lahoud, UN Habitat representative here in Nairobi. Please, let's give her a round of applause. You are most
Souhaitons-la la
welcome.
bienvenue avec un grand applaudissement. Merci.
Okay, I will just stand. Thank you so much, distinguished guests, Madam Mayor. Okay, she just left. Madam Mayor, distinguished guests, partners, and more importantly, the young people with us in this room. Good afternoon and karibuni, Kenya. For the one who's just visiting, for the one who are from here, there's no need for that. It's truly an honor to be here coming from UN Habitat. Unfortunately, our executive director, Mrs. Ana Claudia Rosbach, could not be with us today as she is in COP30 in Brazil as we speak. So I'm happy we're here celebrating also the 80th anniversary of the UN. And no, we don't need an official request to celebrate. So just to answer Rainer's comment. As UN Habitat, we're very privileged to be headquartered here in Kenya, in the heart of Africa, not just because Africa is the fastest continent urbanizing, but also because Africa is the youngest continent with the majority of the population being under 30, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. And this, for me, is not just a fact, it's a force. It's to remind us that this generation has a huge potential in redefining how we see cities, how cities should be designed, how governance can look, and what peace must mean. But that force is being constantly tested by challenges. Challenges like urbanization. As we know, in 2050, there's like the majority of urban areas will be populated by urban population. And it's not being done in the right way. Like cities of the 2030s are yet to be built, but this growth is happening in an uneven way. Raising inequalities, stress of climate, raising inequities. We're seeing it every day, and every year it's multiplying more and more. We're seeing forced displacement and conflict continuing. 120 million people are forcibly displaced today. It's the record that we have not seen before. Climate shocks are increasing. I mean, last year it was devastating with the floods that happened in East Africa. The extreme heat that's forcibly displacing people, and this climate migration that's going to urban neighborhoods that are already struggling with housing services, with keeping up, with provision of services and so on. It feels like we cannot catch a break. I mean, Rainer, you say you want to have a pause, but I feel like pause and a break is somehow of a luxury these days that we no longer have. Cities are not resting, they are growing, they are adapting, they are aching. And I think it's our job as community, as young leaders as well, to guide that transformation with care and to help cities really absorb that shock. So that kind of like, and prevent them from like deterring the social fabric that's undermining the peace. But as cities are kind of going through all this crisis, what we're seeing is a major force of youth, especially in Africa, but also in Europe and Latin America and Asia. This Gen Z movement that we've been witnessing on social media, but also on the streets, creating change, shows us that young people are really telling us a simple message, but also a very powerful one, that peace cannot wait for tomorrow. Peace should be, thought of today. And this is what we also consider as UN Habitat. I mean, we use urbanization as a tool for peace, for prevention today. I don't know how many of you knows what is UN Habitat, maybe raise of hand. Not many? Okay. So for those of you who don't know, actually, we are headquartered here, and we are the UN agency that works on cities and human settlements. We support cities to grow in a sustainable way, in a resilient and safe manner. And we are the custodian of SDG 11. And one of the things that we have done this year is launch our strategic plan that focuses on three main things: housing, land, and basic services. And these are not just technical issues, these are actually tools for peace. adequate home is not just a shelter, but it's also stability. It's putting a roof above our head. It's protecting us from rain and extreme weather events. A basic service is not a luxury. It is actually a dignity to drink water and not be sick the second day, to actually access a clinic, to have access to transport that can take us home and that can take us to work and back home safely. And land is not just a property, it's belonging. Knowing that I'm not gonna be evicted the next day, knowing that my small shop is not gonna be encroached on and disappearing the next day. So to put our new strategic plan into place, we're just working together with cities and its communities, helping them better design urban spaces that unites us and not divide us, working with local governance, but also multi-level governance, making sure that the national government is listening to the local government, because sadly in many parts of the world that doesn't happen, and also making sure that young people are at the center of that discussion. As I mentioned, they are the force, to be leveraged. And honestly, young people should not sit at the youth table alone. They should. I'm happy to see them here among us because young people belong in every table. How many times when we were kids, we were fed up of being at the kids' table because we wanted to actually sit with the adults and converse with them because we knew we can contribute. And that's the same with cities. Young people should acknowledge young people and put them at the center of the table. And through some of our programs like the Youth 2030, the Young Game Changer Initiative, the Safer Cities program, we have seen what it means when you put them, not just when you invite them, when you trust them. They can make immense change from Senegal to Burkina Faso to Niger to Nairobi to Rwanda. I mean, I can name so many examples where we have worked and trusted young people to create a change, and they can design cities, they can create spaces for connection and inclusion, they can actually map risks, they can sit side by side with mayors and shape policies to inclusive participatory planning. So they are really considered the partners of the cities, active partners of the cities. As a person who works with cities every day, I'm from Lebanon, I'm a woman, I'm also an architect. I come from also a country that's shaken by peace. I know that peace is not just the absence of violence. Peace, if we really leverage the energy of youth and community to shaping cities, it can create immense potentials, way beyond our imagination. And just that resonate alone with the African philosophy of Ubuntu, that it's I am because we are. And it's one piece and well-being of all of us depends on one of each other, and the peace and building of all of us depends also on the young people. So just to wrap up, I really invite you all, especially the young people who are here, just not to listen during those few days. Really, what can you take back home from the learnings that you're hearing today or the practices that are being shared today and tomorrow back home? Who can you collaborate with? Maybe someone sitting next to you or someone back home. What is a small action that you can take? It doesn't have to be too big. And when can I start? Again, thank you so much for inviting me. Have a good, fruitful event. And asante ni sana.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for the assignment that you have given to us with the youth. Now it's up to us to take action wherever we are. So now we are going to listen the message from Philippe Paulier, Assistant Secretary General for Youth Affairs, United Nations. Thank you.
Dear young leaders and friends from around the world, dear civil and religious authorities, Madam President of the Focolare Movement, Margaret Carram, and Mr. President of New Humanity NGO, it is an honor to join you through this video message from the United Nations on the occasion of this extraordinary gathering in Nairobi. We are here to mark a milestone, the 80th anniversary of the United Nations. 8 decades of hope, of struggle, of diplomacy, and, above all, of a shared dream, a world united in peace, justice, and dignity for all. It is no coincidence that you gather here in Nairobi. This city is not only one of the UN's 3 main headquarters, but it's also a living symbol of transformation. From the heart of Africa, the United Nations works every day to advance sustainable development, to protect the environment, and to promote equality and build peace. Nairobi itself tells a powerful story. A young, diverse, and dynamic city where the great challenges of our time, urbanization, climate change, and inequality, are real and urgent, but where innovation, creativity, and solidarity are equally alive. These events remind us that cities are on the front lines of peace and sustainability. It is in our neighborhoods, in our schools, in the places of worship and local communities where cooperation becomes tangible and where healing begins. But yet, we must be honest, our time is marked by too many conflicts, by too much displacement and growing division. Every war is a defeat for humanity, a failure of dialogue and compassion. Millions of young people are being left behind by crisis, by poverty and exclusion. But there is hope. I see 2.5 billion young people between 15 and 35 ready to be equal partners in building our shared future. A generation that resists hate, that rejects indifference, and that chooses peace as a daily responsibility. This is why we must rediscover care as a political, personal, and global principle. Care for people, care for relationships, and care for our planet. Young people are not just victims of today's crisis. You are the creators, the leaders, and the peace builders. So thank you for believing in a better world. May our collective voice become a song of youth, of compassion and peace, echoing from Nairobi across the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now we are going to listen another message from Janvier Bakelo, President of Political Movement for Unity, currently working for the Colombian government.
Un saluto a tutti.
Greetings to everyone from the International Network of the Politics for Unity movement. This meeting is very important to us. We are certain that from this moment on, we will also find innovative political solutions. It is also important to understand how politics, if it manages to improve its quality, can also respond to the problems caused by conflict and violence, and can also work towards peace. It is essential that politics focuses on the common good. We are aware that there are diverse interests, but it is crucial to work on this in order to find common ground. It is essential to recognize these differences, but also to work with those who think differently, to work with these people. By sitting down and talking things all the way through to figure out a shared future. Peace happens when we can use politics as a real tool. Secondly, it is essential that in cities we are able to work on public policies for care for humanity, for the planet, and for institutions. From our cities, we can build policies that consider what works best for all people, including the disadvantaged and the whole community. It is essential to build networks, to build communities. It is important to build relational assets, which are not limited to the basic necessities such as food and water, but also include relational assets and the community.
sulla comunità.
It is also important to work towards establishing a dialogue between humanity and nature, and to pursue this goal to the fullest extent. This is the solution. The younger generations must also contribute to this effort. We are more aware, the younger generations are also more aware of being part of humanity, of being part of a planet, and we must work on that. We must make political innovations, as we are now doing in the program One Humanity, One Planet, which brings together young people from more than 60 countries, working together in order to find these answers. Just like Together for a New Africa, which also works on these initiatives, to find solutions, to encourage the new generations, and to create a network among them. So we are very happy about this opportunity. I am sure that together with the global network, we can also find new avenues with you. Let's move forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this incredible message. So now we are going to listen the message from Margaret Kalam, the president of the Fokora movement. Thank you.
It is with great joy and gratitude that I greet the authorities and all of you present at the Mariapolis Piero and those connected from various countries in Africa and from around the world. I am happy and honored to be able to join you with this video message on the occasion of the opening of Cities, Communities, Care, Youth in Action for Sustaining Peace, a much anticipated event full of new ideas and new hopes. The event focuses on three important words: cities, communities, and youth, which are fundamental elements in the journey towards peace. It is no coincidence that this meeting is taking place in Nairobi, a city that hosts important agencies of the United Nations committed to promoting education and culture, habitat and sustainable development of the planet. It also hosts the World Conference of Religions for Peace. It is a place where many young people have been able to commit themselves to building a better future. So many signs of hope. Since 2014, thanks to the Together for a New Africa program, hundreds of young people from 14 African countries have chosen a new path of formation, the path of sharing and peace, to prepare themselves to be leaders of change on their continent. A special greeting to all of you and a huge thank for your determination. You have given life to projects of development, welcome, and reconciliation in the most diverse areas, placing the search for fraternity at the center of your initiatives. Yours is a serious journey, consolidated by experiences and small acts of solidarity. It is expressed in the document you delivered to the United Nations on behalf of thousands of young people from the Focolare movement, which you entitled Together to Care, a document in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Your commitment, which is also varied and on so many fronts, gives me great hope. Among you are the ambassadors of peace, who promote and emphasize the importance of the path of education for peace, known as Living Peace, which today involves over 2 million children and young people on all 5 continents. Others among you are involved in the Action for United World, AMU, which includes almost 900 international cooperation projects, 19 of which are currently underway. There are also the young people of One Humanity, One Planet, Synodal leadership, active in 50 countries who work to implement policies and social impact with a vision of solidarity inspired by the culture of unity. You will gather other examples of yourselves in an atmosphere of esteem and deep exchange, which will undoubtedly enrich and encourage you to continue on your journey. This event takes place during the 80th anniversary of the United Nations. And from Nairobi, the horizon broadens to a planetary dimension, starting from the city and the strategic role it can play in a global reawakening of human values. Looking at the world scenario, we certainly see that urban centers, even the most modern and developed ones, are dangerous generators of inequality and conflict. We are familiar with the hardship of poor neighborhoods, slums, and shanty towns. Building without a logic of integral development increases isolation and fragmentation, threatens the environment and mental health, and prevents well-being and social cohesion. I appreciate that this conference aims to outline a common path to redefine urban life, enhancing and strengthening social bonds. This implies, in addition to caring for physical spaces, placing human relationships and community life at the center of urban planning. African cultures have much to teach us about this important aspect. I have witnessed the beauty of their communities. The Ubuntu philosophy states that a person is a person through other people. And on the subject of the central role of the city, I really like the reflection of the American political scientist Benjamin Barber, who wrote, "Perhaps we should stop talking about nations and start talking about cities. Cities are multicultural, open, participatory, democratic, and capable of working together, of interacting to solve everyday problems. Perhaps the time has come for mayors to rule the world because they are reliable, pragmatic, committed to solving problems, and they are fellow citizens because the city is also theirs." Returning to the community gives us courage because it implies respect and sharing. How often do new communities invisible to the human eye arise precisely in cities marked by injustice and violence? Communities of solidarity and reconciliation. They are invisible cities which, in their own small way, day after day, contribute to building a worldwide network of peace and show that another world is possible. But how can we do this? My and our greatest trust is in you, who want to commit to changing the present and future of your communities, your peoples, and humanity. Chiara Lubich, founder of the Focolare movement, identified the key word to this change at the UN in 1997. Reciprocity. She said, "Reciprocity, one of the cornerstones of international relations, which lies at the basis of our spirituality, and therefore of all that we do. Reciprocity calls us all to go beyond the old and new ways of forming alliances, and instead to establish relationships with everyone, as required by true love. It requires that we take the initiative without preconditions or expectations. It leads us to see the other as our other self, and therefore to view every kind of initiative in these terms, whether it concerns disarmament, development, or cooperation. This kind of reciprocity is capable of leading each person involved in international life to identify with the other and with their needs and their abilities, not only in emergency situations, but in the ordinary circumstances of everyday life. Reciprocity is a goal that can bring us closer, make us grow, and can become a reality when we take the first step towards the other, whoever he or she may be, whatever their beliefs, to understand the reasons, to seek a connection, to establish a relationship, because it is true that peace requires the tireless work of diplomacy and international agreements. But alongside the hard work of institutions, there must be the life of each of us and our communities, where we all have a great responsibility. And in this, you young people are at the forefront because you are capable of seriously committing yourselves to building peace. So, best wishes. Thank you for listening. I am following all you do, and I am with you.
Merci beaucoup, merci beaucoup. Alors nous remercions les intervenants
We
pour nous
thank
avoir
all those who spoke,
la mission
who remind us of the objectives, the methodology of working
travail de
for
ces
these 3 days.
Nous allons donc cet après-midi
In the
commencer à
afternoon, we'll
travailler.
start working.
Nous aurons plusieurs moments
You will
différents.
have many moments
Ensemble en ligne et quelques autres
together with those who are connected by Zoom.
pour ceux qui sont physiquement ici. Donc,
We'll have a time to also share in small groups. Now we go to lunch.
à 15 heures,
And we'll come back here
nous allons nous retrouver ici pour commencer à
at
travailler
3 p.m.
maintenant que nous avons dans l'esprit, nous nous sommes préparés pour produire le résultat, un résultat. Donc nous allons nous trouver ici
At
à
the
15
3
heures
p.m. we'll meet
pour
back here
cet
at the
atelier participatif et
for a
nous allons
laboratory,
nous
for a
connecter
workshop.
plus tard dans la soirée avec à 17 heures
At 5 o'clock, we'll start
en ligne
to be connected with us in Zoom to share together the good practices and the vision that we have. So at 5 o'clock for those on Zoom, for those here at 3.
Thank you very much.
Greetings all those who are on YouTube also.
Cet après-midi, nous allons avoir une session
After 12 p.m.,
vision et
we will have a session called Vision and Good Practice.
nous allons la passer
We will spend time with Ghislaine Kahambu
Dieudonné Upira
and Diodone Upira from Together for New Africa Congo
que nous saluons,
and
qui est
Cristina Montoya, whom we welcome, and who is connected from Medellin, Colombia. This session will be moderated by Melissa Meya from New Humanity. Please welcome her with a round of applause.
Je suis désolée, mon
I'm
français
sorry,
n'est pas
my French isn't very good,
Alors, je dois parler en français
so I'll have to speak in
en
English,
anglais. Okay.
okay?
So, hello. I'm very excited to be here, but I'm very nervous at the same time. So just one last applause, please, so I get ready for this. Thank you. So, as we have seen, we have started today our international journey. But now there's a very special session because we're going to discover how cities from different countries all around the world are transforming challenges into opportunities for peace. From Africa to Latin America, we will listen to experiences that show us that even in contexts of conflict and fragility, hope can be rebuilt through education, participation, and shared responsibility. And we're here in our first international connection with cities all around the world. And I think you're willing to know which cities we're going to say hello now. Over these next 3 days, we're going to connect with different cities all around the world, in different continents. You will hear powerful stories from communities and youth-led initiatives that lead change. Above all, those are not good practices per se, but they are rooted in the spirit of unity, fraternity, peace, solidarity. So that really spotlights what our communities can do within our cities. And that's something we cherish. So give a big applause to the cities that are now to come. I say hello also to all the people that is connected that will also join us for this traveling around the world. And today we will travel from Africa, because we're here right now, to Latin America, the country I came from. But let's start with Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of Congo. We are very lucky to have here an amazing delegation of Echo for Leaders, which is the initiative we're going to talk about. So a big applause to her. I want to hear you. Thanks for being here. And as you see, I've been here accompanied by two of the representatives of the Echo for Leaders training program. It's an amazing initiative. But before giving some questions to our representatives, we're going to watch the video that's going to introduce us to this initiative.
Education has long shaped minds but rarely consciences. Too often, knowledge has been separated from the common bond.
Et pourtant, au cœur du Congo, une école a
Too often, knowledge has been separated from the common bond.
l'école supérieure de formation.
And yet, in the heart of Congo, A school has decided to reconcile the two. Echo for Leaders, the higher school of formation. But above all, of unity. A post-university school where one learns to love and to unite. A laboratory where unity and diversity is a lived experience. For 8 years, more than 1,000 leaders have been trained in schools, hospitals, businesses and churches. Their fire spreads quietly but surely, a fire of unity, integrity and peace. In the face of war. In the face of war, they walked for peace. In the face of political divisions, they engaged in dialogue. In the face of despair, they sowed light. June 2025, 80 women leaders came together to rebuild the DRC with one conviction: unity is a force for transformation. And on November 1, 2025, Eco for Leaders connects Kinshasa to the Providence for a roundtable on collective memory, a historic encounter where Congolese from east to west speak to one another, support one another, rebuild the ties of a wounded nation. Because without memory there is no unity. Without unity there is no future.
Eco for Leaders.
Echo for Leaders, formed to transform, from knowledge to conscience, from memory to unity.
Very, very inspiring. We are delighted, I am delighted to have here with me Professor Epira and Professor Ghislaine, because they're going to share with us some more insights about this initiative. So, hello. We understand that Eco for Leaders program trains not only professionals or people random, but agents of change, shaped by unity and ethical leadership. Could you share with us some of the examples on how this initiative is making a difference in your country?
L'école de formation des leaders,
the Leadership Training School, as a higher education institution, is a unique kind of school. We train people who have scientific knowledge, and we add to that by training their conscience and their heart, which enables all these trained people to swim against the tide. They fight against corruption, injustice, social inequality, tribalism, and poor performance. And all of these people, more than 1,000 whom we have trained so far, we can cite, for example, lawyers whom we have trained. As soon as they were trained, they set up their own law firms. From an economic point of view, in entrepreneurship, there are men and women who work, for example, in the coffee and cocoa industry, who manage their businesses differently. From a political perspective, the people we have trained are involved in politics with much more passion. And in administration, it's the same thing. We have university professors who teach differently, evaluate differently, and all of this has a positive impact on the community.
Merci, professeur. Formation de la conscience. Very important this. And I think that leads me to the next question for Professor Ghislaine, because this year you have launched the important initiative of women's leadership for the reconstruction of your country. Can you tell us more about this, the dynamic of this initiative, and also what kind of impact is already having in your country?
Merci beaucoup. Nous avons compris que la femme, particulièrement, elle a des qualités Eco for Leader, comme vous avez entendu, a déjà formé plus de 1000 personnes en formation modulaire comme en master. Et parmi ces personnes, il y a des
We
femmes.
understood it's about the presence of women in leaders.
A les qualités qui rassemblent. Ce sont des qualités naturelles qu'elle a. Et en réfléchissant ensemble comme femmes et en voyant comment notre pays est fragmenté,
So the women have certain
nous
qualities.
pouvons tracer de la voie.
We can
C'est ainsi que le 7 juin
work.
2005, nous étions
The
80
7th of
femmes
July,
qui ont déjà cet esprit
we were
de
80 of us present,
esprit de travail
women who had
et nous avons fait
the unity. We had this event to renew the Democratic Republic with qualities
en impliquant d'autres personnes.
of being together.
Jusqu'à maintenant, on a fait l'activité le 7 juin.
We had other
Et parmi
persons.
ces 80 femmes,
The 7th,
plusieurs associations
among the 80 women, there are many associations. When we together, we joined together, we found the first result. There is the Association of the Women who go to university, and there is the professoress, the women. The 1st November, we did a meeting. If we don't understand from where we come, we cannot know how we are going.
Merci, Professor.
Thank you.
And I think it's also important to remember that caring is rebuilding the society now. So we all are invited to do so. And also thank you for that initiative because it's very empowering. Let's talk about future. What are the steps that you're taking right now as Eco for Leaders to sustain this program, to make it reach other countries in Africa?
Ce qu'on peut dire en très peu de mots.
So, in a few words, we can say that Eco for Leaders forms people in leadership, in unity.
When the students finish,
they remain. What remains is the project, the activities that we do, and with the students who did the first courses. And so we create relationships with others, and the Congo is divided, so it's a way of uniting us, uniting people, students. From last year, with a platform where we can communicate in collaboration with many other teachers, lecturers, we try to make a connection with the other students who are in the other part of Congo. There is a
country which asked, how do you do that? So it's for the formation.
There will be a group which will
follow Congo, who will follow the course.
Merci. An applause, please. Yes. Thank you, professors. I think that I take the collective memory that is very important for all of us to cherish the story of our countries. Training this awareness, la connaissance, what was the word in French? Formation de la conscience. And yes, thank you so much because this initiative helps us to go through all the other experiences through these 3 days. So I cherish again. Merci, le professeur. Ça a été un plaisir. And unfortunately, or fortunately, I will need to change language again. So after your applause, I'm going to introduce our next city. Eccomi qua. Allora, io mi sento profondamente onorata
I am very honored
anche quest'altra città, perché per me non è qualunque città,
whatever
ma è
city
quella
there
città
is, it's that
che mi
city
ha dato la
which
vita, che mi ha
has
vista
given me
crescere.
life.
La città
The
di
city
Medellin.
of Medellin.
Medellin,
Medellin,
un tempo
once upon a time,
Colombia,
is a city in Colombia,
conosciuta come una città
once known as a
senza
city
futuro.
with no future.
E oggi è un punto
Now,
di
it is a
riferimento
global
globale
reference
per
for
l'innovazione
social
sociale
innovation
e la costruzione
and
della pace.
peace building.
Oggi scopriremo
Today,
insieme a
we'll
un gruppo di
discover how
persone di
dialogue
questa città
of
come il
this city,
dialogo, la
how
creatività
dialogue,
e le
creativity,
reti
and
comunitarie
community networks
contribuiscono a
have
rigenerare i
helped
legami
regenerate
sociali
the social links of this city
meravigliosa
in the
per noi,
Andean mountains of
dalle
Colombia.
montagne andine della Colombia. Vediamo il video cosa loro hanno
So
da
we will
dire.
see a video from there.
Poi eventualmente sentiremo
Then
alcune
we will
persone
see
che ci
some people.
racconteranno della
We will
loro
hear some people who will
esperienza.
tell us their experience.
¿Puede una pequeña comunidad de
Can a
personas
small
que
community
optan
of
por la
people
vida
who
de la
choose to live in
fraternidad
brotherhood
ser
be the
semilla de
seed of transformation in a city?
Esta es la historia de Rebeca,
This is the story of Rebecca,
Angelita,
Vicky,
Diana,
Angelita,
Lucy,
Diana,
Carolina,
Lucy, Carolina, Ellie, Lady, and Christina,
que han decidido
who have
jugársela por
decided
la
to
paz,
take a chance on peace
arrancando desde
starting in Medellin,
y la de Julián,
and that of Juliana, Luis, Santiago, Rafa, Aldo,
y todos
and all
aquellos
those
con
who
quienes se
have
ha
joined
vivido.
them.
Colombia
Colombia has experienced more than 60 years of armed conflict, systemic violence, and inequality. In the northwest of the country, in the Andes mountain range, lies Medellin, which in the 1990s was considered a city with no future. It reached 3,800 homicides per 100,000 inhabitants, the vast majority of whom were men between the ages of 15 and 35. We're talking about a lost generation. Perhaps most importantly, this crisis was not attributed so much to external factors such as armed conflict or drug trafficking, but rather to a profound breakdown of the values that had been at the foundation of the city's formation. The solution in place to date was marked by police interventions, which on the contrary exacerbated the conflict and its consequences. A special presidential advisory council is created to try to rescue the city. To achieve this, three elements are key. A new narrative that, in addition to raising awareness of the situation, highlights the potential and the good that permeates life in the neighborhoods. A generative conversation process that brings together the various sectors in well-prepared forums. Business leaders, public administration, social organizations, and academia. From this conversation, new horizons emerge for Medellin. Added to this is social investment, which brings the periphery closer to the center, knowledge and beauty to the most impoverished sectors, in a government option that combines ethics and aesthetics. Through art and symbolism, the city resists and consolidates civil society by engaging in dialogue and joining forces with the administration, academia, and business. A new chapter begins, and Medellin is reborn, to the point of being considered the most innovative city in the world in 2013. These are the years in which the peace processes in Colombia are maturing. But just when it seemed that we were succeeding, the path fragments, the country becomes polarized, no violence emerges, peace is once again in check, and crime intensifies once more. Colombia hurts us, and we feel a strong call to take action, to contribute to a culture that not only makes peace possible, but also makes it sustainable and inclusive. We believe that a community is needed that encourages and sustains hope, that is a home and a welcome. Based on the transformative power of love proposed by the Gospel, we began with a period of intentional listening to recognize the vibrant life and the pains of the city. We met with victims, ex-combatants, social leaders, and business people, trying to identify the paths we can walk together. We promote unlikely dialogues between people of different ideologies, create spaces for encounter to establish links and support those already working for peace, and promote new forms of relationship in politics, economics, technology, and academia. In synergy with others, we offer training programs. We join those who share this dream of a city, as in the creation of Conjugarte, a collective of artists, social organizations, and community leaders who have contained violence in their neighborhoods for years, offering opportunities and dreams to thousands of children and young people. There, they recognize, intertwine, and combine to bring out the creative power of fraternity, to add sparkle where there is already light, and bring beauty to every corner. We are entering the nerve centers of the city, but we know that everything is connected and that peace-building processes require a global perspective, actions that arise from solid processes of reflection and analysis. We bring together diplomats and practitioners, experts in mediation and conflict resolution, to ask ourselves what contribution is needed at this moment, how to understand mediation in the new global scenario. This gives rise to the idea of bringing a Meso think tank to life, a collaborative space to offer situated and qualified knowledge that aids decision-making and illuminates action. The process of transformation in Medellin, in our recent experience, have shown us the importance of symbolic resistance, the power of art to heal wounds and bring healing. Strengthen acceptance. Put relationships at the center. And to this end, promote actions to forge bonds. Know how to persevere in the face of difficulty, to stand in the gap. The power of a conversation that is generative when it not only opens up scenarios for the future and creates alliances, but also includes historical truth, which is a companion to justice. In the words of Pope Francis, either we are brothers or we destroy ourselves. Fraternity is today the frontier on which we must build peace, with the certainty that by grafting love onto it, life is regenerated.
Gracias, Medellin.
Thank you, Medellin.
Now, we will hear... scusate, sono in italiano. Allora, adesso sentiremo alcune
Now,
voci
we'll hear some people speaking
che hanno raggiunto via
who are here with us through Zoom.
Zoom, Rebecca e Julio. Lo so, sì. Arrivano. They are coming.
They are coming.
Loro fanno parte
They
di
are
questa
part
rete
of
viva
this
di pace e fraternità.
new network of peace.
Sono tutti quelli che avete
And
visto
they are
ora
all those you
nel
have
video.
seen there.
Quindi io vorrei dare
So I would
un
like to
benvenuto
give welcome to
di nuovo
them,
a Cristina,
to
a
them.
Wendy,
to all of them there. Welcome, so we can have this conversation on how they have contributed to our work together to fulfill their project. Hi, Medellin, Colombia.
Sí, les escuchamos. Sí. Tutte queste sono belle
So
facce.
you can see them.
Sì.
So thank you for to be with us.
Mi dispiace che lo dobbiamo fare in italiano.
It's in Italian,
Ci portiamo un passettino in
but
più verso
we
questa unità
will
con il
go
mondo.
a step towards the united world.
Allora,
So,
ecco, a voi. Arrivo con la super domanda.
first question.
Questo video
This
che
video
ci avete inviato
that
ci
you,
racconta un processo
that you sent to us, there is a solid process in three important elements:
nuova,
a new narrative, generative dialogues, and social investment.
Io vorrei sapere,
I want to know from you,
ci potresti dire
can you tell us why applying these principles help to rebuild trust and shared values in your community?
Grazie Melissa.
Thank you.
Dico prima una parola su appunto il cambiamento delle narrative.
First, a change of narrative. When you can look at the realities in a new way. For example, stop seeing the other as an enemy, for example. Then we can find new solutions. We look at the situation to find new solutions. And then to give an example, we spoke about in certain times in which there were social networks, the creation of a space for getting to know one another was very important. This was something, a real inspiration to do this. Other young people said that they also try to bring this into their own neighborhoods to create a space for relationships. So to narrate these things helped us to find new solutions and to change the situation. So it was a journey, a social journey from the schools among the poor. We said we must do something. We began to speak in a different way and say, no, we are not poor, we are protagonists. So they can dialogue then with others and to find solutions for this city. And this is what we did. This needs, we got together a musical group. And this generated a lot of activity. So it would change the history. Hi to everyone. When we spoke about these generative communities, dialogues, to see a different way of seeing things, or we also put different sectors into dialogue between them. So our experience, which often we met people who had a violent past, for example, when we generated this dialogue, when we deep dialogue, they found that they had something in common. Also a great depth of sensibility, and the potential for change was discovered. We are able to see one another in a new way, not just because of the evil or bad that they did, but for being able to construct something new. So these conversations are very informative. of all those who participate in them. And they are a source of great hope. The other point, that it's an investment, social investment. This can be great, but also small examples. Don't have to be huge structures, but small things. I mean, just reaching out to a neighbor in your area, just helping some women, for example, just small things. There are many, 1,400 micro actions were engaged in. And this tried to respond to the real necessities of people. This created a space to meet one another of trust, and this is what brings about positive fruits. Thank you. And this is very important because Julio, what is it for you? Ciao. The video, it speaks to us effectively of art and the strength of creativity, which is a force for healing. Can you tell us something about that? How these actions help young people to resist to violence and to what is the meaning of their local areas of these actions? Hi to everyone. Yes, the art, we have a meeting of different organizations in the city, and these organizations, they get together, bring people together, and young people to play, to sing, to dance. And so what helps them to grow as people? They are young people who come from difficult backgrounds, and sometimes they have fear, they need to be accompanied. Also, the same families represent. Sometimes they come from areas where there is violence. So we are able to build trust and to create a relationship with each other. And art offers this discipline, allows them to reconcile with themselves, but also it brings, put into practice with different concrete actions of resistance to criminal activity. So this school of art is an antidote to criminal activity. So those person who is armed, for example, but the best arm is the one of the singer. So they raise their voice to announce these concepts and to denounce criminality. So these groups, they help to bring out the best in each one, best in each person. Effectively, I was thinking of also in Africa, also in other places, art is really something which helps to make the new generation blossom. I know here in Africa there are activities, creative activities, so we're alternatives to violence. So let's think of the future. What impact can this have in your cities? This is the question for you. In the video, Victoria said this idea of fraternity as the frontier which allows us to regenerate ourselves in a frontier of new life through love. I want to understand how the city responding to this. As you see in the city, the spirit of fraternity is growing. With the young people that you mentioned, how can you sustain these activities in your city? Yes, we can say that In this moment, this group
that we are working is growing
with a certain moral authority, even though we are small, but we're having an impact. Some elements that are there that we underline helps us to grow.
this trust, this esteem that we have for each other.
People feel that this is a great service.
And it also has an economic aspect as well. Another element is
also in the most difficult moments that we are there on the front line. We try to sustain these initiatives so that they are not stopped when there are conflicts. Another element that we are a group. There's no personalisms here, individualism. We are a real united group. And for all of us, what's important is to build people and to build relationships. It's difficult, but in the city, is the city answering? It's difficult to say, but we can say that what we try to do is to create spaces for people to meet one another. And this works very well. We try to involve those people how they live the same reality with the same passion. And so it is like having multipliers of the experience. This is fundamental. And so to nourish hope when there are conflicts, okay, so it's a challenge when they come, these conflicts,
but we try to stay there. But we try to have courage. We inspire courage in people in these moments of difficulty. These are some of the ingredients that we try to be a yeast
in this situation. Thank you to all of you who are linked up. What a joy to see you all there together. For me, it was really wonderful. Also for us, it's a joy to be with you. Thank you. So we invite you all in Medellin. Okay. So you saw that all of these stories, experiences says peace is creative. I can just say I really to welcome all that has been said, to let's remain with this
experience, with these words as the key for these two cities. Historical memory, formation for consciousness, and then a lot of creativity to build relationships of
peace, to sustain relationships of trust
that are sustainable in time in our communities. We see you tomorrow to
meet 3 new cities. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Melissa. Merci à tous.
Thank you very much, Melissa. Thank you to everyone who came today to share your very concrete, practical, scientific experiences in various languages, from various cultures, and also from various countries and 2 continents. Thank you very much. So that was our first practical presentation and scientific. We will continue in the same line. It is now time for questions and answers on the global and local perspectives of urbanization and the community. So let's take a moment to welcome with warm applause the moderator and her team, Maria Celeste Mancuso from Sophia University, Latin America. You are most welcome, along with your entire panel. Applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening. I welcome everyone for this panel of our Nairobi 2025 gathering under the theme Cities, Communities, Care. I would like to introduce to all of you here and those who are connected in internet this opening session of the panel, who brings together diverse perspectives to explore how urbanization and community building intersect with care, sustainability, and peace. Our goal is to connect global frameworks with local realities, particularly within the African context, through the unique lenses of each speaker. I'm very honored to introduce our panelists. Some of them are in person, just here, and one of them joining us with online, who will share their thought-provoking contributions. So please welcome our three speakers of today. Joaquin Salzberg, Dr. Kigara Kamuro, yes, I'm sorry, and Ashley Kitisia. I'm sorry for the confusion. Okay, we are here to talk about this global conception with the African perspective, like I said, about cities, communities, and care. I would like to introduce, it's difficult for me to work with the computer and the microphone. Can you help me, please? Okay, thank you. Okay. Thank you. Joaquin, he's my friend. Okay, Joaquin holds a BA in political science and is graduated of the Argentine Foreign Services Institute, currently serving as a head of multilateral negotiation, UNEP, United Nations Habitat, at the permanent mission of Argentina to the United Nations in Nairobi. Previously, he served as a head of biodiversity negotiations in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Argentina and was the country leads negotiations for the coming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. Joaquin, how can cities and local communities become active agents in implementing global agreements?
Thank you, Celeste, and good afternoon, good evening to all. Well, there are a lot of things that cities can do, especially because, let me say that in my view, most of the problems that we all care about today are mainly global, right? Climate change, migration, economic instability, biodiversity loss, the rise of artificial intelligence. None of these challenges respect borders. They're shaped by global interdependence and they require global coordination. So to your question, Celeste, even if these problems are global, the places where we as individual citizens actually experience the consequences of these issues and where we have agency to respond, these places are local. Democracy is local. Participation is local. Trust is local. Even when national governments negotiate international treaties like the Paris Agreement on Climate Change, for example, implementation happens in municipalities. provinces, cities, not at some strange global level. Let me illustrate a little bit of this tension between the global issues and the local issues with my experience as you said, as Argentina's lead negotiator for the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework between 2019 and 2023. What my job was to contribute to the design of this global agreement on biodiversity. But it was clear to me that while we drafted in negotiation rooms this agreement, the agreement could not be implemented there. It could depend on people like all of us on the ground, right? So let me provide an example of why it was so important, the local communities and the cities. The Global Biodiversity Framework includes targets such as conserve 30% of the world through protective and efficiently managed areas, or restore 30% of all degraded ecosystems. These places where we have ecosystems and biodiversity, this is in our cities, right? So clearly, while these kinds of global commitments are hopeful and set a high bar for what we want to collectively achieve, they only become real when they are translated into local governance systems. This means that cities and municipalities must allocate budget, designate protected areas, enforce land use rules, and support communities. This was not overlooked in the Global Biodiversity Framework. Alongside these global targets that I gave two examples, we designed a system for planning, monitoring, reporting, and reviewing the implementation. National governments, in coordination with subnational governments, are expected to plan how they will contribute to the targets, communicate and monitor their progress, and adjust when necessary, so together we reach the shared global targets, right? In other words, while the negotiation of the Global Biodiversity Framework was top-down, the implementation is intended to be bottom-up. And this is also true for many other treaties that you probably know, like the Paris Agreement on climate change, or, for example, the Sustainable Development Goals. And it's the way in which most international frameworks related to sustainable development are supposed to work. But there's a trick, right? This shift from top-down policy setting to bottom-up implementation, the translation between global and local, does not happen automatically. In fact, what I could say is that we have persistently failed to make the mechanisms that connect the two, the local and the global, work. And this, in my view, is at the core of the shortcomings, or of many of the shortcomings, not all of them for sure, of the UN, of the Sustainable Development Goals, and of the broader project of multilateral cooperation. And it's reflected, of course, in the fact that even though we have treaties for climate change, for biodiversity laws, the SDGs, we cannot say that we're winning the battle against these problems, right? And I think that it's particularly clear, and we feel this very clearly in our cities and in our own lives, where we often feel powerless in the face of global problems that our mayors and governors cannot solve alone. Yet I would also say that there are some examples of where this translation has worked. And let me give you, for example, the Montreal Protocol. This treaty addressed the damage that certain gases were causing to the ozone layer, affecting human health, in particular increasing rates of skin cancer in the world. And I would bet that if I were to ask many of the younger in this room, you would not have an idea of what the ozone layer is. And this is because this agreement, the Montreal Protocol, worked. This treaty created a transition pathway, basically, that made the phase out of ozone-depleting substances into a win-win For the rich countries, the developed countries, and the developing countries. For the industry, the private sector, and also the governments. And it backed up that proposal with timelines, mechanisms, and I would say most importantly, funding, money that was necessary to implement the treaty at the national and at the municipal levels. It was so successful, the Montreal Protocol, that it was the first international treaty with universal participation from all countries. And 3 decades after the adoption of the Montreal Protocol, the ozone layer is recovering and is back or is on track to return to the levels of 1980. So the lesson somehow that I want us to draw from this process is somehow the following. The global goals only succeed when everybody commits and when also local systems are equipped, funded, and enabled in that way to act. But of course, the gap between the global ambition and the local implementation is very large. The problems that we face are way and far more complex than that of the ozone layer. And the multilateral system at this 80th anniversary of the United Nations is not in its strongest moment. But I would say, and I would call on you, that this is not a reason not to disengage. Actually, on the contrary, when the system is under strain and the challenges are large, participation, particularly from the grassroots, matters more. Over the past decades, the involvement of civil society, local communities, indigenous peoples, youth, and cities has been one of the main forces pushing for multilateral negotiations to go forward, shaping the agreements on sustainable development that we have today. So I would say that this is not the time to step back. It is actually the time to continue participating or to step up participation, to advocate from our cities and our communities for the global agreements that we still need and push for stronger recognition of the central role of cities and local governments into making these agreements real. We need more global frameworks, or more complete global frameworks that ensure that the tools, the resources, and the institutional support reach the places where implementation actually happens. And it is not a zero-sum game. It's not that we have to have it all, right? Change is incremental also in multilateral affairs. Every new mechanism that allows us to strengthen the link between the global and the local is a step forward. And with every step forward, we increase our chances to be able to tackle global challenges at every level, from our cities to the global level. I don't know if I answer your question, Celeste.
Yes, you answer your question. Thank you very much. And thank you to participate and being protagonist of this beautiful experience. Thank you very much. Okay, we have here also Dr. Kigara Kamweru. Is that correct? From the University of Nairobi. And Dr. Kamweru is an architect and senior lecturer of the University of Nairobi. His work focuses on regulation of the built environment in the protection of public space, with a strong emphasis, particularly urbanism. Is right? Okay, I have a question for you. We are witnessing very rapidly growing of the cities. And my question is, how can we help the youth to put their energy to foster inclusive identity in this situation?
Oh, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. I think that is an important question for our time, especially because the rate at which our cities are growing is a high one. And we are seeing that with that growth, the average age in our cities and in our urban areas is tending more towards the youth. And this is a very significant observation, because it means then that there is a lot of energy that we know is reposed in the youth. And it is this energy that we must focus on. What is it that we can do to make our cities more livable? Places we want to be in, places we want to spend our time in. It's an important question. Important because projections tell us that majority of our populations, say for example in Kenya here, majority of the population is going to be living in urban areas in not many years in the future. And therefore, if we do not know how to make those cities livable and exciting places to be in, we may be condemning our populations to a life of misery, a big part of their population. And so we must focus on what is it that we can do with the resources at hand to make our cities better. And I would suggest that the most important thing that we need to learn how to do is to develop a sense of community. People living together, people working together, people able to trust each other, and people who understand and perceive that they have invested in this environment, in this neighborhood, in this place that they call their home. And in doing that, in aiming for that goal, there are many, many opportunities for us to be able to achieve other goals as well. So if you focus then on the youth, you recognize one thing, that today our youth are looking for many, many ways to express themselves. And they have the tools to express themselves. And they have the energy to do so. And in this desire, in this burning desire to express ourselves, we have the opportunity to become better communities. How? When you talk about community, at the core of the idea of community is commonality. Things you have in common, things you share together. And what we need to learn to do better in our cities is to bring people together, to create the opportunities for people to come together and work together. And so, you can look at it this way, that when a city feels itself to be a community, or wants to drive in that direction, say for example when the leaders are seized with this desire to turn this population into a community that gels together, then they can look for the opportunities within their own lives to bring this out, to bring this energy to the fore. And the key is being able to invite the people to contribute. Let me give you an example again here, from here in Kenya. When we have our national days, we tend to rotate them in various towns, various cities. If you take any city, near us here is Thika, and Thika has been asked to host the National Day. It is an opportunity for the leaders in that city to invite the youth to somehow interpret that National Day so that it gives an identity to that town. So that this is a National Day that is going to be celebrated with the unique identity of our town. Now, there are many, many things that could happen there. Young people will come out. They have been invited, they'll come out. They'll bring out their ideas. Of course, there will probably be some process of looking at that. But in that whole process, we get to know what kind of talents there are in this population. We get to know who is good at this or that. And in working together on a project like that, we begin to develop trust. We begin to know each other. We begin to understand each other better. And at the end of it all, we are not afraid of each other. We understand we are one. Yeah? Do that again and again, and you really have some understanding of who we are, what we are able to do, and we have more confidence in doing it. You have a strong community. You have a strong sense of a shared identity. You have a strong sense of something that you want to protect. That's an aspect of what we call sustainability. And you begin to push a population to a point where we understand each other and we know what we have invested in each other, and we know that there is a need to protect it. So ultimately, it comes to the creating the forums for people to work together and to express themselves. And after that, all manner of possibilities arise.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We hope every city can be built in this way. Thank you very much. You brought us hope. All right, now we have with us Ashley Kitishia, representative of the Laudato Si movement. Ashley Kitishia is a climate justice campaigner and a movement builder. She has led high-level advocacy efforts for climate justice and promotes the fossil fuel non-proliferation treaty. Her work brings ecological care and with community empowerment. She serves as the African Programs Manager at Laudato Si movement and holds a postgraduate diploma in law. Kitishia, I see a very interesting connection with Joaquin, Dr. Cameron on grassroots, right? And you are an expert on that. How this climate activism reshape the development models and promote a culture of care rooted on ecological justice.
Thank you so much, and good evening, everybody. I'm so grateful for the two speakers before me, Daktari here and Joaquin, because they have echoed sentiments that are very dear to us. Once you mentioned grassroots and how the power and change comes from the grassroots, and Daktari here talked about how building communities is quite beneficial and one of the ways to be able to transform society. Our movement stands as a testament to that. We are a very small group of Catholics, volunteers all over the world, working in a decentralized manner to advocate for climate justice within the Catholic Church and also in collaboration with people of goodwill. We heard the call of Pope Francis in his encyclical Laudato Si in 2015, which coincided also as the precursor to the Paris Agreement, which talked about the need for us to address climate justice, but also emphasized a very important point, which is the fact that everything is interconnected. And we stand for that principle and value of integral ecology, that we as human beings are connected and part of the environment, and we therefore have to see ourselves as part of it and work in tandem to be able to, one, restore what has already been destroyed, but also be able to preserve it for future generations to come. Laudato Si was also momentous because it incorporated aspects of science, not only looking at theology, but as well as science. And now that was also one of the most pivotal ways that brought together the unity and harmony that can be able to address climate justice, not only from our hearts, but also from what is already happening around us and the signs that are already around us. And so when it comes to engaging in climate justice and calling for our common home, Laudato Si emphasized that fossil fuels are one of the main drivers and one of the main root causes of the climate injustice. And so that is something that has been a contentious issue that has been really not fully addressed, especially with the Paris Agreement. And also we are seeing a lot of backtracking of commitments towards fossil fuel phase out as time goes by. And so what we do is to, one, equip and empower people of goodwill at the grassroots. We train them and we teach them about what is really happening to our common home using faith, using Laudato Si, using science, and also integrating aspects of policy and community leaders and what is already happening around them so that they're able to take action. After that, we engage with them. We create a platform that is the movement itself, where they are now able to join with communities and join hands together to be able to come up with programs and projects where they can be able to address climate challenges rooted in their own realities, using their own languages, using their own advocacy. We also do not leave the faith behind. So at Laudato Si movement, we have a principle called contemplactivism. This is a word that is a mixture of contemplation as well as activism. We take time to pray, to reflect, to discern what are the most urgent, what's the most loudest Laudato Si cry of the earth or cry of the poor, and we're able to now take action and take action in a way that is, one, rooted in advocacy. Advocacy could be as simple as sending an email or even just engaging in policy, engaging with policymakers, and also taking action ourselves in terms of addressing the challenges in our common home. And so young people are really positioned in a place where they're able to really connect and resonate with this. So it's not just a passive movement where we are just sitting down or signing pledges and almost like we're really engaged in taking the work. And Pope Francis also said that no action is too little. So each animator, each member of the movement has a project that they are able to undertake for a long time. It could be as simple or as grand as they're able to. With the advancement and knowledge that is coming and the developments that have happened in the climate space, we are seeing that there is more intention when it comes to the projects that are being submitted by young people. And they're able to use that as a way of advocacy. And what we do do is that we nurture these talents and we continue to create this almost harmonious way of working together. And no one is left behind, no action is too little. And that continues to drive the impact and show light and hope in communities when it comes to this. So we also...
Can you speak a little slow?
Okay, yes. All right. So we also have the ability to be able to create and generate solidarity, intergenerational solidarity, cross-border solidarity. And this is really key, especially because there has been a lot of especially when it comes to when you're engaging with the grassroots, there is a lot of hope that comes at the beginning, but there are so many challenges and setbacks that come, and people lose hope and people lose momentum when it comes to the actions that they're taking. So with that community, with that solidarity, we're able to create moments of encounter, moments of spaces where people can come together and just share the different things that are happening in their regions, the tactics that they're using and that are working, the changes that have happened. And through that, we're able to build a community that is not just founded on taking action, but also one that is founded on love and one that is founded on fraternity, which is so transformational. We have Laudato Si animators present in almost every space. How many Laudato Si animators do we have here? Gloria. So it's really, really great to have members who are always trying to take action, trying to tackle these problems in a way that is, one, rooted in faith, one, rooted in social justice, but also one that is taking action in a practical sense in a way to advance their common home. All right. Apologies. All right, so where did you lose me? I can go on. Okay. All right, thank you. So to conclude my intervention, African communities bring to this global dialogue a very powerful witness, especially when it comes to the aspect of Ubuntu, the aspect of brotherhood. Community is not a concept that is very far away from our own cultures. And that echoes in what Laudato Si teaches us. We are all interdependent, regardless of our language, regardless of our borders, and all the other challenges that we face, regardless of the politics. And by weaving together those two aspects of the brotherhood, but also the aspect of integral ecology, Africa can be able to shape the moral vision, not just for its people, but also one for the world and the future that we want, one that is rooted on justice, energy access, water access, livable cities, and through that, we'll be able to create the future that we want and one that is rooted in the values that we uphold. So, thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you. Thank you for your commitment and your passion also. And you talked about the future, no? And I think that this is a very interesting connection with the next participant, Professor Giovanni Vecchio, who is in connection. Oh, yes, okay. Okay. Let me introduce yourself. Dr. Vecchio is an assistant professor at the Institute of Urban and Territorial Studies and researcher at the CEDEUS. His work explores territorial justice, accessibility, and inclusive planning in Latin America. Dr. Giovanni Vecchio, my question for you is, how can cities cultivate plural futures and foster meaningful agreements in a polarized world while embracing local adaptation as a path of transformation?
Thank you, Celeste. Good evening and greetings from Chile. Well, when we look at the places in which we live, we may feel that the challenges ahead of us are beyond our reach. And the words at the heart of this session reflect sometimes that feeling. We may be facing global trends or local problems, and in both cases, addressing these issues requires us to think that transformation is possible. And I will share with you 3 words that that hope can help us to look at our places with different eyes. And the first word is futures, in plural. Increasingly, narratives about the collapse of our societies and the world as we know it dominate public discourse. And yet, they often fail to propose a horizon toward which we would like to direct the places in which we live. And as we think about the future, we face 2 main risks. The first is looking backward, believing that our future lies in the past, in an idealized state we once had, but that future doesn't work for us. The population was different, the environment was different, and that idealized past is also part of the foundations of the problem we face today. And the second risk is adopting a purely negative vision, once defined by zero impact, carbon neutrality, or the absence of inequality. These goals are essential because they aim to address pressing environmental and social issues. But we also need positive definitions. Can we imagine futures we actively want for the places in which we live? Of course, this is a question that does not have a single answer. And that's why we must remain open to plural futures. Futures that can be defined in different ways by different communities. And to define these futures, a second word is necessary: agreements. And for some, it may sound absurd to speak of agreements in a polarized world. And for others, it may seem strange to talk about agreement when facing challenges like climate change, global inequality, or war, issues that may appear to leave no room for differing opinions. However, it is essential to recognize that different social actors may not share the same understanding of a situation, and yet they can still direct their efforts towards a common horizon. They can define some basic shared elements and shape what we can call as a trading zone, a space in which, despite their differences, 2 groups can collaborate. For example, a company may be interested in adopting more sustainable production processes. A municipality may develop nature-based solutions, and the community may take care of a river or a natural area. All these actors share an interest in the custody of the environment, even if their purposes are different. And we need to open spaces for a diversity of purposes, actions, and initiatives, and to open spaces for local specificities. And this leads me to the third word, adaptation. We often look at good practices and admire innovative places. We want the same technology as Shenzhen, the same walkable spaces as Paris and Barcelona, or the fast and effective public decisions of Singapore, but our places are different. We tend to want our cities to resemble ideal models, but we need to do the opposite. We must adapt those models to our cities. Of course, we need inspiration from elsewhere, but we also need to be aware and proud of our specificities. So adaptation is not just about adjusting our cities to a changing world with new climate conditions, growing or aging populations, and an economy that can no longer rely on fossil fuels. Adaptation is about recognizing the possibility of change right where we are. We have much to learn from the best practices of other places, but we must also believe that change can be generated anywhere, and that the destiny of a place is not written. If it were, Medellin would still be known as a narco capital, Seoul as an industrial city, and Dubai as a small port in the desert. So generosity is needed when we think about the places we live in. We must believe that change is possible, keeping our eyes open to the most interesting experiences developed around the world, while keeping our feet firmly on the ground of the places we inhabit. The urban histories of change show us that not only is transformation possible, but it is also necessary to keep building futures right where we are. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Giovanni Vecchio from the Catholic University of Chile. I forgot to mention that. Thank you very much. And well, we have come almost to the end of this panel. I hope each of you has had a glimpse of the theme. But for me, let me share that the word that comes to my mind is opportunity. Opportunity for the futures, opportunity to give the opportunity to the youth, identity building for them, opportunity to believe that the care of the nature is not an ideal, that we can work on that from the grassroots and yes, reach also fraternity and also opportunity to build in our cities a global opportunity of relationship, fraternity, and multilateral agreements. Yes, thank you very much. Okay, we have come to the end. Thank you very much. And I don't know.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. Let's show our appreciation with a big round of applause, please.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you
Very much. Okay. Merci encore.
So thank you once again, and especially to Marie-Celeste for moderating this panel, and all the panelists. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to the end of our first day. What do you think, Ajid? What do you think of our first day here?
It was very amazing. So for me, I think today has shown that cities and the communities grow stronger when young people choose to lead with care. The workshops, the wise ideas shared, reminded us that peace is not an abstract goal. It is a daily practice built through empathy, shared responsibility, and bold action. Each voice in this room carries the power to shape better life, more inclusive neighborhoods, and a future where cooperation replaces conflict. Thank you for showing what youth in action truly looks like. Let this gathering be the start of new commitments, new partnerships, and renewed courage packed to build the peaceful world we deserve. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup. Donc nous
Thank
avons
you
une
again.
mission.
So now we have a mission.
Que notre mission,
Our
c'était
mission
de prendre
is
soin de notre cité et de
go
notre communauté.
take part of
Nous
our
avons aussi
communities.
vu, entendu des exemples riches,
Waiting to
inspirants,
hear rich examples of
à
good
travers
practices
le monde, en Afrique, en Amérique
in
latine.
everywhere.
Et nous
And
avons terminé
we
cette
finish this day
journée en voyant les perspectives
with a global
globales et
perspective
locales
and a
de
local
la
perspective
communauté.
of the community.
Nous méritons une petite
So we have
pause.
earned
Voilà pourquoi
a
demain,
break,
nous allons
and tomorrow we will
continuer
continue and we'll talk about the ways the ways of co-responsibility in the community.
Donc ça aussi, ça sera une
So
grande mission, une
that'll be a
grande
great day we will have tomorrow.
Merci encore une fois
And
pour
thank you once again for having shared this day with us, and thanks those who followed online, and we'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
See you tomorrow. Thank you.